You can't have stories without beginnings or ends. Otherwise, story kind of meanders and loses its purpose.
Well, I mean, it's not true. It's just that if you had a story that's all middle, then the start of the middle would be the beginning.
Yeah, but you also need an end.
Well, the end of the middle would be the end. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Gosenzo-sama, Long Live the Ancestors. And once again, thank you to Henry for sponsoring these. Yeah, what did we get you in? The last one?
Third or fourth episode? Or it was in the beach. I know, that's what I remember.
Well, the last episode was the beach, but
yeah,
I think we've been at the beach for 2 episodes, haven't we?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. No, actually, sorry. Inumaru, I believe episode 3 was Inumaru was at like a hotel situation with Hiroko, and the whole idea was that he was trying to convince Hiroko not to go into like oh yeah, what do you call it? It's not like the sex trade, even though it has that sort of thing to it.
Soapland?
Soapland. No, God, I can't remember. It's not like escort service. It's
no.
Go to these places, and then the girls are very nice to you.
Yeah, you pay for basically attention. What happened? You pay for drinks.
There's a specific name to it, but I can't fucking remember the name.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
The idea was that she was offering to do that because she couldn't stand to like put him off to take care of her, because the entire conceit of her coming back to the past was for her to support her ancestors, because the people in the future have some sort of ancestor work. Anyway, and that's when they find out that he's taking out a lot of money from some mafioso type or yakuza type guy, and that's why everybody comes together. Also, that's where I believe well, no, I don't think he shows up. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the investigator guy. I don't think he shows up that episode, or he does. Sorry, the once a month thing is what's really written with my memory. Anyway, I think the beach episode you were talking about was specifically last episode, so I think we brought you in on last episode.
And then that episode ends with Kinekuni with a bunch of money that he stole, and then the cops were going to show up and arrest everybody, and they left because they were stuck in the beach because Tatara had hired Inumaru to work off his debt in that little beach cove thing. And Tamiko shows up, was like, oh, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And they have a discussion. And then Buname supposedly plays a song and a piano and dances. And then at the last moment, Kinekuni shows up. It's like, oh, this is the beach we always used to hang out when we were younger and a family. And oh, by the way, I robbed a bank to pay off the debt that we have, but I took even more money than I needed. So not only do I owe more money to the government because now they're hunting me because I'm a bank robber, but well,
they've also moved every episode.
Yeah.
Episode 1, they were living like in an apartment complex out from everything. And then, let's see, the wife leaves because she can't deal with the whole situation. Yeah. And then I believe the next episode, they're living in a much smaller one-story place. The dad, the son, and the granddaughter? Yeah, I think that's right. And then at the end of that episode, Inumaru and the granddaughter run off and move into their own place, which was the episode before you joined. And then I guess technically nobody's living anywhere in the 4th one because he's chained up by the neck doing shit to work off the debt at the beach.
Yeah.
So if they live anywhere together in this episode, it'll be the 5th place that they live.
Also, it was that Bunamaru tricked them with the debt in the first week. Tatara, I just say, because her mother says, "Oh, I know your secret. That's why you always you didn't."
I think you're thinking of the wrong guy. He's the investigator. I think you're thinking of the guy who looks like Bunmei, but isn't a time traveler. He's got the same face. He's not on the board because he has the same face. I don't know if he's like one of Bunmei's ancestors or Bunmei in a different costume. I don't know. I know I brought it up in episode 3 when it was with me and Justin, and I think I told you about it with 4 because it's not a thing I'm aware of. Either it's Bunmei himself. Oh, no, actually, I think Bunmei shows up in the same scene as the other guy last time when I was watching with you.
Because Tamiko figured out that the owner of the shack never intended for Maru to pay the money back.
Well, he's not, well, I don't know if he's actually the owner of the shack, but that's the Yakuza type that shows up in episode 3 that Inamaru borrows from.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we also have a comment from Henry themselves from the Patreon from the episode Starting Over. Sort of embarrassing to hear the introduction again that I wrote all those months ago, LOL. But it's not true that there was no audience participation in the show before. I just checked episode 1, and it featured loud cheering/clapping at the end when the mom made her exit. This is not a big deal, of course. Episode 5 might be the climax of the entire story.
Okay.
Out of 6 episodes. So, like I said, I don't know if that means Henry isn't going to have us watch the last episode or not. I guess
episode 6 would be the denouement, because the episode I watched, they were very much aware that they were in a story, and it was all about how the story should go, right? And whose story was it?
Sure, kind of like how Reboot ends with a stage play, telling you about how Reboot went. I know there's better examples, but I can't really think of any of the other ones.
I don't remember that as the ending of Reboot. I remember the
it's the ending of season 4. You're probably thinking about season 5, which just doesn't end.
Yeah.
Season 5 ends with say Megamind. What the hell was his name? Megabyte. With Megabyte coming back from the dead somehow, back in the principal office. The principal office then gets locked down, and I think it's called Manhunt is the episode, because the idea is he's hunting everyone down, but it goes into a next time on, and no other episodes got made, so technically season 4 was the last full season.
It's grown-up Enzo who has to fight with him.
Well, technically, I believe there's a number of people trapped in the principal office together. Because this is after the Damon storyline with the supervisors. That is Damon. Sorry, it's my favorite also opening. All shadows averted. Damon.
Anyway. Yeah. I'm hoping that this explains something. I mean, it wasn't that it was not understandable. It's just that it was extremely meta.
Well, we only got one episode of it too, so
yeah. But compared to Durarara, I actually can understand what's going on here, because they're so focused on the meta. Where in Durarara, I was like,
I was making it a point to shit on Durarara for some reason. It's a freaking amazing show that I don't know how you don't love it. So
yeah, I just was confused the first time I watched Durarara. So there you go.
It's a great show. Just got to wrap your head around it. That's all.
Yeah, well, it's taking me a while.
Well, yeah, a month at a time. All right, well, I mean, I guess if that's everything, let's go ahead and hop on into possibly the last episode. I don't know.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
くちばしの上の巨大な突起ゆえに2つの頭を持つ会長としてヨーロッパに伝えられた熱帯降臨の王者。
Because people in older times were dumb.
育児法は近年に至るまで詳細を知られることがなかった。地上をはるか数十メートル。親が運ぶ餌を受け取るためのわずかな隙間のみを残し、泥や藁くずで漆喰状に入り口を固められた木のうろの中、外界から隔離された巣穴の中で最長の一生は始まる。それは
I guess it would be a deterrent for the opposite, which was what the bird from the first episode, the one where
Yeah.
it knocks the other bird's eggs out of its nest and puts stone eggs there.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No, not just blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah.
子はその鳴き声によってそれに応える。育て、養われる間柄なればこそルールを必要とするのは鳥ならぬ人の世にあっても同じこと。とは言いながら。
At least this metaphor feels a lot more direct than the other ones.
Yeah.
Also, that could have been Mario Brothers 3, which is also conceivably a stage play.
I don't think it snows in tropical forest, but sure, I guess. Okay, that's not a blink and you miss it anymore.
いつまでもあると思うな親と金。肉体は外界を望み、心はゆりかごの暗逸を求める青春のアンビバレント。生きるべきか死ぬべきか。
Yeah, I guess conceivably, our boy has to go out into the world at some point and have a daughter who can then have a daughter or a son who can then have a daughter or a son to give birth to our time traveler.
As long as that's not the granddaughter itself, I guess.
There's still a generation in the middle.
Still,
At best or worst, the granddaughter could only be her own grandmother. There's still generations removed. But what I mean is that there's other people involved. She's not herself
True.
going all the way down.
no, I know. Still,
Right, which still has to imply that there's a life to be led. Even in the worst case scenario that you're trying to indicate that he hooks up with her, there's still other people.
yeah. When did this come out? In the 1980s, right? Or 90s?
It comes out 3 years from now.
What? No. I mean the original show. When did it air?
I'm sorry, what do you think I mean? That I'm going to release this 3 years from now? Of course not.
So when did it air
The
originally?
time traveling show. I'm making a joke that it hasn't come out yet.
But it already has because
You
we're
know.
watching it.
That doesn't mean anything. That's
What do you mean
the
doesn't mean
heirs to the
anything?
mystery.
Yeah, no.
You know, it's the whole, H.G. Wells writes the book in, 1960. H.G. Wells is born in 1970. That whole thing. It's a funny joke. You should have laughed. It's funnier than your Titanic joke.
They went for a little photorealism there. So that's the mother and the investigator, right? Yep.
Again, his mannequin joint things are so weird.
Oh, they're stealing food, I guess.
No, she just got really thick, really quick.
Yeah. And again, the
Well, you're also losing everything.
yeah,
Yuka ball.
Yakabo. I guess they're not spending the money that the father got.
Well, I'm sure
got
he's in
from-
jail. But I'm wondering why the private investigators in on this.
Yeah.
I guess the private investigator got wrangled in because he was on the scene of the crime.
He's still happy, I guess. And the whole thing, she would be happy being pregnant?
I don't think so. I mean, she's mainly just been happy to be with her ancestors. It's a whole ancestor worship thing. Hey, it's the Coke sign, but in darkness. So they're back to where they were before.
Yes.
廃業したドライブインのようですな。
まあ手頃なところかも。野宿よりマシさ。
ひいおばあ様。
So is the dad going to be in the trunk? Or did we just lose him?
ああ、そうだったわね。マロコ、出してあげてちょうだい。
Yeah.
The camera focused on behind from the trunk for like 2 seconds too long. It's like sums up the trunk. Oh man, I hope they find One-Eyed Willie's hidden treasure.
I hope they don't find that bird. There you go.
I'm pretty sure Coke paid for this show. Coke and Kodak.
Probably. Otherwise...
You've only seen the Coke stuff. Kodak, or whatever the film company was.
Nikon?
Yeah, it might have been Nikon. Was big in the early episodes.
Guess he's now a criminal.
あれどうなさったのあなたひもじいのそれとも寒いの犬丸確か3日前に万引きした毛皮のコートがあったわよね
やだな母さんあれは昨日の夜食い逃げやらかした時レストランに忘れてきちゃったじゃないかよ
I guess the money's gone.
皮の敷物は
2日前に空き巣に入ってパクってきたあれ
I'm pretty sure we figured that out at the beginning.
Yeah.
虫が湧いてたんで今朝捨てちゃいました。
捨てたってどこに捨てたのよダメじゃないのあんな派手なものをその辺に捨てて足がついたらどうするつもりなのよもっと気をつけてくれなくちゃ本当に返事ばっかりんだから
そうじゃないだろう
えなんですって
わしは情けなくて
なんかおっしゃった
And it's certainly come a long way down from where they started.
Yeah.
あの大洗海水浴場を脱出してから2月各地を転々とする逃亡生活とは言いながら家族が一つになってさえいればいつか再起の日も来るかとそれなのに毎日が万引き毎日が置き引き毎日がかっぱらい毎日が食い逃げ
Maybe you shouldn't have robbed a bank, dude.
絶妙なコンビネーションを誇る万引きのプロお前はお前でそんな犬丸たちを諌めるどころか戦闘機って悪事一直線これが泣かずにいられるか
I mean, she's been my favorite character since the first episode.
家族と別れたくないばっかりにいやマロコと別れたくないばっかりになぜあの時この私を突き出してくれなかったんだそうしてくれればこんな悲惨な転落の道を歩まずに済んだもの世もだけがわしの代で泥棒一家になり下がるなんて親類縁者に顔向けがご先祖様に何と言ってお詫びをしたらあバハーお前という女は私の言うことを少しは
I mean, technically, she didn't want anything to do with any of this from the get-go. She left because you guys were up to this shit.
Yeah.
家貧しくして親をいれば禄を選ばず犬丸はよくやってくれてるわそう正直言ってあの子にこれだけの生活力があるとは思わなかったわ
お前は血を分けた実の息子が犯罪者になったことを何とも思わんのか
そういうあなたはあの子が傷害事件を起こした時何をしていたの
しかしあれはマロコを守るための
I mean, conceivably, this always must have happened. Otherwise, she would have fucking disappeared.
Yeah.
あなたを守り、家族の生活を守るために
Yeah, we're talking about a close time loop here.
手段に訴えることとどこが違うというの。それにこの際だからはっきり言っておきますけど、私は家族の結束とそれによって立つ家庭の存続に心を砕きこそする親類だのご先祖だの家系だの、そういうことには何の興味もありませんの。いえ、そういった類の観念には憎悪を抱いていると言っても
well, they destroyed your family.
制度としての家の解体と実態である家族の共同性の解体とは峻別されなければなりません。たとえ社会的存在としてのよもたけが法の名のもとに犯罪者集団の烙印を押され、徹底的な弾圧を受けようと一致団結してこの迫害に耐え、自らを家族として実現し続ける限り。
Hello, what?
Okay.
One less this time.
Yeah, no, it's
Came independently on its own.
uh-huh.
I guess in fairness, she's doing this. Not
Yeah, but
not a different angle.
私がウェイトレスになってひいおじいさまやひいおばあさまをこのお店にご招待したらって。
素敵な思いつきじゃないの。
I still don't understand why the investigator guy is with them though. Especially after that. Well, maybe that might explain why he's still here.
たとえ招かれざる客であれ、他者は時にこれを受け入れなければその家族に未来はありません。ある日、息子に伴われた見知らぬ娘に母と呼ばれる。男の子を産んだ母親の宿命ですものね。
Except that you left because of her.
yeah.
Where's Bunmei?
なんだって？マロコは犬丸の嫁じゃない。犬丸の孫だ。私たちのひ孫だぞ。
その娘の正体が何であれ、結局家族の一員として受け入れるしかないのであれば、ひ孫だろうと娘だろうと私にとって大差ないわ。いずれ時が答えを出してくれる問題よ。少なくとも生まれてくる子供は正真正銘あなたの孫よ。違う？
そんなことが。
I guess after you've invoked the Nazis, it's really hard to go lower.
私にはようやく分かってきたわ。現実的かつ常識的範疇をはるかに超えたストーリーの中で、
No shit.
親だの息子だの孫だのひ孫だの好き勝手に呼び合って家やら家族やらの危険極まりない観念をもてあそんだ
I have to wonder about
どんな
the
結末を迎えることになるか。ここまで来たらこのいい加減な物語に最後まで
the problems of genetic degeneracy when it comes to
Yeah.
incest via time travel? Because then you're just going to be in a genetic loop throughout time. Conceivably every time being a different iteration of a different multiverse, but still degenerating your own cells worse and worse.
If the
But
error is
not for Inamaru though, because he'll be outside the loop as the generation just above it, but he'll
Yeah.
constantly be falling in love with a more and more degenerately R-worded via incest baby.
no, because if it hasn't shown itself on his granddaughter,
We don't know what part of the loop she could be the first one.
yeah, which means the detectives don't believe in love. Okay.
Could be why she's so submissive and obedient
Oh.
that she doesn't have the mental capability otherwise.
Hmm. Which
Hidden
makes it
cameraman.
worse.
The detective hidden cameraman.
Yeah.
Whose base was at a Nikon giant camera building. Sorry, I'm just gonna say everything I think out loud at this point. Maybe
Yeah.
they're a couple now, that's why he's there, and Dad's been cucked.
That's also a possibility. Although it seems that the detective is more like serving her than anything else. Because everybody seems to be deferring to her, basically. Like he was lighting his cigarette and, all that stuff.
The mafia guy?
Or the detective, or both.
I don't know, they have the same face. Well, not the detective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The time cop.
Time cop,
Bunmei.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The problem, no, that's the mafia guy. Bunmei has white face makeup and a ridiculous future outfit. But they both wear the same, glasses. That's the difficulty I'm saying, is I don't know if it's Bunmei or Bunmei wearing a costume, or actually a Bunmei's ancestor. Because technically he's in the past right now, and being from the future.
Could it be that he realizes what's going on, and that's why he starts the process of trying to either prevent time travel or police it?
No, he works for a future organization where it's just illegal to go back and do this with your ancestors. He says that in episode 1 or 2. No, he says in episode 2. He appears
but if the Yakuza guy is the ancestor and learns what's going on now, could he be starting the process where either they develop the technology, or
I don't know,
or becomes a time cop?
Conversely, this all could just be a stage play and not real.
Yeah. Okay.
They all have the middle bit things.
Is that just God going whatever? Person death?
I'd argue that death is, because death is the one you're conscious enough to be knowledgeable about, whereas you don't remember your own birth because it's not a thing for you. I mean, unless his point is that your actual moment of death is something you're already dead before it happens.
Yeah, you just there's no after, therefore you cannot remember death itself.
Well, I was thinking more a point that you're probably unconscious or not aware at your actual moment of death.
Okay.
善意の聞き手として尊大な観客として、そして知らずその物語の登場人物として演出家として、時にあざとい演出によって展開の単調さを支え、ただひたすらに終幕を目指して、
I don't know what it has to do with anything anymore.
あってもいいような世話話、話にならない弱いごと。これが物語と呼ばれるものの正体なのだ。
12 monkeys.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting right now. He's talking real deep and shit, but at the end of the day, he's actually just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
人を魅了してやまぬ物語の本質なのだ。そして悲しいかな。人はその人生を物語の渦中に置いて生き始める。そう、誰もが踏む家族という名の初舞台から。
Well, not everyone.
なんという皮肉だ。終幕を目指して演じられるべき物語が、いつから始まり、いつ終わるとも知れぬ血縁の場を舞台として幕を上げねばならないとは。しかし、であるなら、その物語の意の、あらゆる物語の最終的な、そして思考のテーマとは、実はその物語を終わらせることでなくてはならない。 You
can't have stories without beginnings or ends. Otherwise, story kind of meanders and loses its purpose.
Well, I mean, it's not true. It's just that if you had a story that's all middle, then the start of the middle would be the beginning.
Yeah, but you also need an end.
Well, the end of the middle would be the end.
Oh. If the story continues,
that's how
then...
continuity works. No, it doesn't continue. If it had no end to begin with, then it had no end. But if all it had was a middle, if it all it had was a middle, then the end of the middle would be the end. Because that's where your story would end. Wherever the ending is the end.
But you just said that it doesn't...
If your story had an end and you cut off the end, wherever the new ending is the end. The only way to not have an ending is to not have a story. To be fair, that kid deserved it. How did you rob a bank? He's come a long way from guy with golf club fighting kid with bat.
もはや体制は決した。山竹は今や袋のネズミ。自首して出ようが徹底抗戦を図ろうが逮捕は時間の問題だ。長官のトップを哀れな泥棒一家逮捕の顛末が飾ることになるだろう。
Again, if he's the guy from the future, then he would already know how this all goes down anyway.
Yeah.
Legit knows the end of the story, despite what he said.
あんたにしかできんことだ。これであんたの最愛の家族を一思いに。そんな。何をためらう、何を恐れる。このまま愛しい家族に生き恥かかして本望か。
I mean, I legit thought he was putting the gun in the guy's mouth. It was going a different way.
一足先に出所した家族にどんな未来がある。再び転落の道を歩ませるぐらいなら一層。今ここで。
Try for corruption again. Oh. I see what's gonna... If he kills his son... No, he calls it...
Oh, so a murder, suicide.
Yeah.
Hey, UFO.
So they all died.
I mean, it feels like how the Rocky Horror Picture Show could have ended if it went a different way.
Yeah. Or...
Oh.
それをこんな馬鹿げた展開で終わらせてしまった。
Going with a clue ending.
本当にそれでいいの？
真に偉大な結末は常に予定調和でなければならない。そのための伏線だった。
Or is she going to go back in time to before this to join the family, causing the events of everything to begin with?
Isn't that what she did?
We don't know when she came from or where she comes from. She claims to be the great-granddaughter. You know, she just shows up in episode 1. That's the whole impetus. That he is him?
That he's the father. Her father.
Except that he should survive this, then?
なぜです。一体なぜ私がおじい様に会ってはならないのです。
Because you already did.
あまり話したことはなかったな。私の母、つまりお前の祖母にあたる人のことだが。
とても変わった人だったとか。犬丸おじい様もまだその方には出会ってはいらっしゃらない。
出会っていたのさ、とっくに。この物語が始まった時から。
In episode 1?
Yeah.
No, because you're all fucked because of this?
ある日風のように現れ、
Yeah.
世だけに破壊と混乱をもたらし、私を生み、そして唐突に姿を消した。まるで遠い国から訪れ、そして
So this is that zombies thing.
その人の名が判明したのは、お前が生まれた翌年のことだった。それは悲しい暗号だった。私は私自身の想像を恐れ、そしていつか訪れるであろうこの日のために。
But you didn't die when the family died,
コン
so
トロールを志願したのだ。私の名はよもたい犬丸。父の名は犬丸。父の父の名は杵国。そして母の名は。
Yeah, I mean, we already figured it out though, so.
yeah.
はじめまして、母さん。あなたの息子の犬丸です。
I do like the dramatic reveal thing.
私は
Yeah.
荒廃した海岸で来る日も来る日も考えていたよ。
It does explain why he's so fucking weird, given his family
自分の
genetics.
母を育てた息子として、この呪われた血の循環をどこで断ち切るべきなのかを。
お父様。
さようなら、マロコ。さようなら。
I mean, not for nothing, you should probably shoot your mother first.
撃つ前に一つだけ
Before she goes back in time and does this again or something.
今、お前の中に私はいるのか。
最後に答えられぬ謎を残し、これ
Where you come from to begin with?
Oh, the future.
No shit. I mean, the family's dead behind him. Nobody had her yet.
Yeah.
Wait, never mind. He impregnated her. So, yeah. No, she has him. Then he goes on, has, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
in place.
One for all for one.
I don't think
What is it?
that I've mentioned it on here before. You go ahead while I figure out the name of the thing.
The thing is, he should have shot her because she's the linchpin of all this. The only person that really needed to die was her. Because she doesn't have him, then he can be the father to her, and, well, you get the picture.
The thing I keep referencing, I'm sure I referenced it once before on this, and I don't know if I referenced it with you, is the Robert Heinlein story, All You Zombies. Are you familiar with that one?
Nope.
The plot is a young man is taken back in time and tricked into impregnating his younger female self. He gets a sex change somewhere during the time travel thing.
Okay.
He is the result of this union, making him his own mother and father. And everybody in the story is him at different points of time. So everyone in the story is him.
Okay.
At different ages, different mental states, sex change operation at one point.
Yeah. Mm. So the metatextual is
一家離散の後、立ち食いしにその身を訳してマルコの幻影を追い続ける犬丸。水高泡立ちそうの燃え立つあの日、黄色い飛行船の待つあの日へ。次回、Gosenzo-sama Banbanzai 最終話、古城の夢、古城の夢にこうご期待。
In the first episode, or maybe the second episode, they cover it. But in the first episode, when they're living in the like the apartment building complex, when she shows up, there is a blimp floating around outside the building, and that's when they cover the fact that the time travel ship's like, how'd you get here? Apparently, it's like kind of like the TARDIS thing, right? It disguises itself, and they imply that it could be the blimp. It's either they imply it could be the blimp, or we implied that it could be the blimp. I no longer remember.
I guess there's more story to this. Somebody survived. Did Yamato survive? Because he's looking for somebody. And then next on. So
I mean, we understand the story. We understand the story as a sequence of events anyway.
Yeah.
We understand the elements of each part of the story and how they come together. Not so much the dad robbing a bank, but I mean, I understand why he did it, or I just don't understand how he did it.
Yeah. I think it's not, well, ultimately, I think it's not important. It's only important in the sense of we need them to become criminals so they can end up in this. Because the metatextual concept is how do you create a story? And questions about characters' agency and actions and why they happen, right? So it's almost, it reminds me of it's 7 characters or 6 characters looking for an author, right? Where the characters exist, but they don't have a story. So they go look for someone to write their story. And the story of I think it's originally a play, then became a movie, was about them trying to find the author and said, listen, we are characters, but we cannot exist outside of a story. So they want somebody to write their story for them so they could be in that story.
Oh, I thought you were talking about No Exit for a second.
No.
It took me a minute to remember what I was trying to think. If you saw me look off to the side, that's me remembering quotes from the movie and trying to figure out what the fuck was that movie. Which is, of course, that's where Hell is Other People comes from. No Exit. You said 6 or 7 people, and I'm thinking, what reminds me the most of this? And that is 6 to 7 people on a stage play all by themselves having to deal with one another, and that was, of course, No
6
Exit.
characters, not 7.
Well, you're talking about what you're talking about.
Yeah, 7 characters in search of an author is a mystery novel by Shyla Van Sickle that takes its title from Luigi's prenatal play 6 characters in search of an author. So it was originally a play, and then there was a novel, and I think also a movie. The play follows 6 characters who interrupt a rehearsal in search of an author to complete their story. The characters who are revealed to be incomplete creations of a failed playwright demand their story be told.
Otherwise, that 6th season of Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Or, I imagine, an episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did it, but the meme is that The Simpsons did it.
Because they've done everything.
To be fair, Homer does go to the real world, so it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I just bring attention to the concept of I don't know how the dad robbed the bank, it's more so I'm indicating towards his character. Because he goes from an arc of sword fighting his son with a golf club versus a baseball bat, where he's constantly in a one-upsmanship game with his son, to defending Maroko from his son. You know, I sure love a back, getting my back washed. And then he opens his eyes in the bathroom and it's his dad standing in front of him, to him running off and leaving his dad behind, to his dad suddenly having robbed a bank. Because I guess it assumes that his dad's been following him even though he ran off, to know that he went into debt with the mafia guy who turned out to be his son anyway. So his son put him in debt and then chained his neck up to a post outside of the beach place, forcing him to work. Even though he was a future agent anyway, who went back in time to stop him and didn't. Because conceivably, in that place was where he actually caused him to give birth to himself.
Because I think the plan was to destroy the entire family, but didn't destroy his own daughter, who happens to be his mother. So he failed, I guess.
Well, I mean,
he killed himself too. So I guess
he didn't, though.
No.
Oh no, sorry, he did. I was thinking from the moment back in episode 2 where he showed up and then failed to stop anything, which I guess implies that Inamu already had sex with her.
Yeah.
Before anything else happened.
Which, when I told you that she was wearing the dress filled with all the food and she was patting her stomach.
Yeah, but she wasn't, though. That was the whole pretend to be pregnant but then it turns out that she was. But I mean, when she's patting her stomach for that, that's obviously just a way to rob the store.
But she seemed very happy about
She,
it.
in fact,
so.
would have had to have been not
Yeah.
so pregnant in order to have
Yeah.
the room to steal all that stuff. I don't know.
It's a story. I like it in the sort of, again, meta-textual kind of aspect. Like, yeah, we're going for that angle. So
I mean, it's not
kudos
where
for
you would
them.
prefer that it would go.
No. But the story within the story itself is rather bland. When you think about it, it's a time traveling where.
I mean, to be fair, I just told you the Robert Heinlein all you zombies, which is I not only my grandma, but
also my grandpa too.
Well, no, it's just everyone. You're literally you're the bartender at the bar that's serving you a drink. You're also the guy who kidnaps you to bring you back to the past. You're also the woman you fall in love with to have a kid. You're also your son. You're everyone, everyone in the story. So that to me would be a greater example of doing something with everything. This, not bad. I mean, it's not saying it's bad, but this is a mix. It feels like it's patting itself
in the back.
Yeah, for being so important.
clever.
But to be fair, it's doing more than just the time travel element. It's doing the solo stage play, stepping outside of itself to comment about itself, and then stepping back into it. I don't think that's the patting on the element.
No.
I don't think that's the patting on the back part. That is self-introspection. The patting on the back part is the not specifically the stage play stuff, but when it references the narrative at play, that is the patting on the back. You know, the life is a story without a beginning or an end. That is the patting on the back moment, not the liminal space where there's just a door and the one character and they reference everything that's going on around them back and forth. Like, here's my thoughts on the situation. Here's what life means to me. Here's what that vision through the doorway peephole actually portends to my future. Those are outside of the aspect of the time travel story, but don't like, hey, here's what I'm telling you, audience, about what it is to live. Those are the patting on the back moments.
I mean, the time travel story is a framing device to explore the idea of story creation and aspects of story.
I would disagree in that the single stage play is the framing device to a time travel story about what you just said.
No, because, okay.
The stage play is
the framing device that allows us to be metatextual.
Yeah, that allows us to have conversations that the characters themselves would be unable to have directly with one another.
And with the audience.
Yeah, which then allows you to... That's what I said. It's the framing device that allows you, the narrative, to have the discussions that you would not otherwise, or should not otherwise be able to have in this same story if you set it in a normal pattern of like a movie or television show.
It's not the framing device. It's a plot excuse. That's what it is. It's a plot excuse to have everything else happen, right? It's the we're going to talk about stories and we're going to talk about all the aspects of story. Did you
see Meteor City?
No.
Oh, it's a great movie. Reminds me a lot of
Dark
this.
City. I saw Dark City, but not Meteor City.
No, Meteor City, it has the same sort of framing device that we are watching both a stage play in creation, but also different elements of the time that's happening, while also watching the stage play itself. So, we see the director setting up the stage, and, he's like reading out actual stage directions to where the sets should be laid out. Then we're in the set watching the thing happen, but then we'll also step back to talk about the production and the producers of the stage play and their relationships to one another and how it's affecting the writing of the stage play. And then there's the meta level of the actor playing the dad, who's the mom is dead, is actually in a different stage play with the actress that played the mom, and they have a conversation across buildings. And then the guy who's applying to be the main actor of the stage play meets the guy who's writing the stage play well before everything, and their pseudo-sexual relationship. If you ever heard me quote, God, I can't remember the quote. If you want to wake up, you have to fall asleep. I've said that like a dozen times. I don't know. I throw it out at random sometimes. But that also comes from this. Bryan Cranston is also the narrator who accidentally shows up in the stage play for some reason.
Yeah.
Because he's narrating, and then they turn to him and was like, what are you doing here? It's like, oh, am I in the scene? It's very meta in this exact way. If you like Gosenzo-sama, you'd probably enjoy Meteor City.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it also has like Waiting for Godot kind of vibes as well.
Well, I mean, it's very specifically in the meta framing of stage play meets different meta story with commentary about what it means to live in exact, obviously not in your own timeline sort of thing. There's no timeline shit going on in Meteor City, but stories about life that you might pack your bag on for telling people, but multiple narratives with different important. It mimics a lot of this, just not the time travel element.
It's interesting. I don't know if I say it's the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. It's just it tickles your imagination and your brain. Like,
well, I mean, I would definitely have to be in a mood to watch this if I was doing it on my own. I don't know. I'd have to say that if I like read the synopsis, like, what's this about? Why should I watch it? Probably wouldn't have on my own. Do I regret watching it though? No. This is like one of those enjoyable watches that you kind of get forced into watching. Like I said, I wouldn't have watched it on my own. And because that's typically, I have this whole barrier up to, if it didn't interest me in the first place and it turned out to be bad, then I didn't miss out, did I? Because I only watch good things, which is to say I only watch the things that were interesting me enough to have watched. But this is also well before my time frame. Like, I only watched Fooly Cooley because it was in the public headspace for people watching Fooly Cooley. And you compare this to Fooly Cooley, apparently.
I mean, Fooly Cooley also has a
narrative about growing up in a not environment the word I'm looking for here. In an environment where things just don't make sense. You know, not because it doesn't make sense, because it's a narrative about, like, well, I don't know exactly what Fooly Cooley is meant to represent. To me, it represents not coming of age, puberty. I'll say puberty is what I'm going for here.
Yeah,
it's literally change. Becoming one person, you know, getting hit in the head with a guitar and suddenly becoming a different person, while also at the same time having a metacontextual difficulty with dealing with the sexiness of the girl who's making you change, by the way. For me, it's a huge narrative about puberty. I don't know what the actual read on Fooly Cooley is supposed to be.
I mean, there's also, again, the art of interpretation. What the audience can interpret this in a variety of ways. Or maybe they can, actually. This is one of those stories where you're not giving a lot of room to interpret it any other way than what it is.
Well, I think you are, up until you get to the end, and they just tell you. I've had a lot of guesses over time about what was going on. I didn't guess that Bunmei was going to be in the family. I don't think I had a lot of guesses about Bunmei to begin with, but...
Yeah.
All right, is that all you got?
That's all I got.
All right, well, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below, and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?